Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to begin the lesson by a beautiful quote: "A little progress each day adds up to big results." It is true, children. Every day, when we are going to progress a little, it is going to give us surely the good results. Children, today we are going to begin with a beautiful story of Flamingo, the rat trap. The Rat Trap is written by Selma Lagerlöf, who was a Swedish writer whose stories have been translated into many languages. A universal theme runs through all of them: a belief that the essential goodness in human being can be awakened through understanding and love. This This story is set amidst the mines of Sweden, rich in iron ore, which figure large in the history of that country. The story is told somewhat in the manner of a fairy tale. Now let's come on the theme and the sub-theme of the story, children. On page number 44, according to my book, theme and sub-theme of the story is given. The theme of the story is the trap of material benefit that most human beings are prone to fall into. Children, it's quite common among the human beings to gain more and more, and this only keeps a human being living. Though it is having this positive side, it is having lot of negatives too. In this story, we'll be able to learn more about this. The sub-theme of the story is the human tendency to redeem oneself from dishonest ways. For getting material benefits, sometimes we are prone to fall into the vicious circle, the dishonest ways, but still, human being wants to improve, wants to redeem oneself from the dishonest ways. This example. Now let's begin with this beautiful story, children. Once upon a time, there was a man who went through selling small rat traps of wire. As I said before, that this story is appearing as if the narrator is narrating a fairy tale. So it begins in a fairy tale manner. He made them himself at odd moments from the material he got by begging in the stores or at the big farms. Children, as he was very poor, therefore he could not afford of getting the material every day, and therefore he could not make those rat traps regularly. So whenever he was able to get the material by begging or by stealing some from somewhere or by getting from some farm, then he was able to make. But even so, the business was not specially profitable. We know, children, how many of us buy rat traps, so it was not profitable. So he had to resort to both begging and petty thievery to keep body and soul together. So to live, he had to commit some thievery and sometimes he had to beg. Even so, his clothes were in rags. His cheeks were sunken because of malnutrition, and hunger gleamed in his eyes. Gleamed, children, means shone. So in his eyes was hunger every time. No one can imagine how sad and monotonous life can appear to such a vagabond. Vagabond is the wanderer who plods along the road, means who walks here and there aimlessly on the road. So life of such a person is very dull, very boring, and aimlessly he was moving here and there. Left to his own meditations, as he was not having anybody to talk to, therefore he used to continuously think about himself or the things that he was surrounded by. But one day this man had fallen into a line of thought. Now, everyday, children, what a person would think. So, at least one should have an idea to think. So, one day he got an idea, and that he was thinking about now. So, His time was now as if passing and he did not get bored, which really seemed to him entertaining. This thought was very entertaining to him. He was very amused by this thought, by thinking whatever he was thinking. That made him very happy. He had naturally been talking of his rat traps when suddenly he was struck by the idea that the whole world is a rat trap. So, children, the entertaining idea was to compare this world with a rat trap. He thought that the whole world, with its lands and seas, its cities and villages, was nothing but a big rat trap. Children, here the literary device metaphor is used. Comparison of the world is with the rat trap. It had never existed for any other purpose than to set bats for people. It offered riches and joys, shelter and food, heat and clothing, exactly as the rat trap offered cheese and pork. As soon as anyone let himself be tempted to touch the bite, it closed in on him, and then everything came to an end. Children, to trap a tiger or lion, a deer is put as a bat. So, for us, for human beings, in this world, there are many bats. For now, the bats can be different for different people. Some people, they are living in this world because they want riches and joys. Some people, they want for themselves a good, comfortable house to live in. Some people are foodaholic, and like this, many bats can be there. So he started to compare this world, and he assumed that all the people in this world, they are moving around their bats that they want in their life. The world had, of course, never been very kind to him, so it gave him unwanted joy to think ill of it in this way. It became a cherished pastime of his during many dreary plottings to think of people he knew who had let themselves be caught in the dangerous snare, and of others who were still circling around the bat. So, whenever he was getting bored while he was walking here and there, he was immensely joyful, or he was very, very happy. So, unwanted joy, limitless joy he felt when he found people suffering, people becoming victim. They were just moving around their bats. So it became his cherished, means favorite pastime. And now his life appeared to him not very boring. So dreary is dull and boring, and ploddings are walk. So whenever he used to walk aimlessly, he used to look at the people around him and think about this, that what traps they were in. One dark evening, as he was trudging along the road, he caught sight of a little grey cottage by the roadside. Trudging is walking, children. And he knocked on the door to ask shelter for the night. Nor was he refused. So he was welcomed also. Instead of sour faces which ordinarily met him, the owner, who was an old man without wife or child, was happy to get someone to talk to in his loneliness. So, usually, children, he used to find unpleasant faces. So, means unpleasant faces. So, he did not ever get this kind of host before. This time, it was an old man. The host was an old man without wife or child. So, he also thought that he will be able to enjoy someone's company, as he was feeling very lonely, all alone. Immediately he put the porridge pot on the fire and gave him supper. Then he carved off such a big slice from his tobacco roll that it was enough both for the stranger's pipe and his own. Finally, he got out an old pack of cards and played Majolus with his guest until bedtime. So, this person, children, not only provided him house, hut, that is shelter, food, supper, porridge, and then he gave him a little more He gave him a slice from tobacco roll also, and then the entertainment also. So beyond basic amenities, the peddler was able to get at Crofter's house. Majorless Children is a game of playing cards. Now, in Sweden, playing cards is known as Majorless. It's a kind of game that we play with cards. The old man was just as generous with his confidences as with the porridge and tobacco. Now, as he had provided him with the porridge and tobacco, in the similar manner, the old man was sharing his secrets with him. The guest was informed at once that in his days of prosperity, his host had been a crofter at Ramsajo Iron Works and had worked on the land. So, crofter is a person who works on a rented land. So, he was a crofter in his young days, and at Ramsajo Iron Works he was working. Now that he was no longer able to do day labor, it was his cow which supported him. Yes, that bossy was extraordinary. She could give milk for the creamery every day. And last month he had received all of 30 krona in payment. Krona is a Swedish currency, the money that is used in Sweden. So he was very happy to share that he got so much benefit from a cow, a single cow. He had set up a creamery and last month he had received 30 krona. The stranger must have seemed incredulous. It appeared to the crofter that the stranger, the peddler, was not believing him. For the old man got up and went to the window, took down a leather pouch which hung on a nail in the very window frame, and picked out 3 wrinkled 10 krona bills. Bills are the notes, children. These he held up before the eyes of his guest, nodding knowingly, as if he was shaking his head and he was showing, see, this is my profit. Then stuffed the money back into the pouch. The next day both men got up in good season. Season means mood. The crofter was in a hurry to milk his cow, and the other man probably thought he should not stay in bed. The other man is the peddler. So naturally the host had got up, so he also got up. The head of the house had gotten up, so he also got up. They left the cottage at the same time. The crofter locked the door and put the key in his pocket. The man with the Rattrap said goodbye and thank you, and thereupon each went his own way. Now here there's a twist, children. In the story we know that our peddler is a thief. But half an hour later, the Rattrap peddler stood again before the door. He did not try to get in, however. He only went up to the window, smashed a pane, stuck in his hand, and got hold of the pouch with the 30 krona. He took the money and thrust it into his own pocket. Then he hung the leather pouch very carefully back in its place and went away. So, children, he stole the money of the host, of a good host, the crofter, and we will see later that what it results in. Till here we are going to do the story today.